Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and on my last video I got a lot of mixed reviews on whether or not I should do videos like this, or whether or not I should do them in the grab bag, bulk style. So I decided that I'm probably going to do a little bit of a mix, and today I'm going to be starting this new, I guess, series of videos off with Volbeat. And as always, let's go over its stats and typing and abilities before we get to the movesets. So first off, Volbeat sports the mono bug typing, which in itself is okay, but gives you an unfortunate weakness to Stealth Rock, which can become a problem in competitive matches. As for its abilities, the first one, Illuminate, is completely useless in competitive battles due to the fact that it only affects the in-game play involving running into wild Pokemon. But the Swarm ability can be pretty cool because it does boost your bug-type moves when you're below 33% of your health or less, which is always a plus, and something that is very possible for Volbeat to, in a way, abuse, even though it doesn't get the best attack stats to make use of a Swarm boost. And finally, its Dreamworld ability, which is released, is the very awesome and unique ability Prankster, which gives priority to all non-attacking moves. And Volbeat has a lot of non-attacking moves to abuse this. Now, unfortunately for Volbeat, it's normally seen as being only a baton passer in a way, because it does have that really awesome stat boosting move Tail Glow, which boosts your special attack by 3 stages. But Prankster can also be used in a lot of other different ways on Volbeat, not necessarily just for its ability to baton pass, and I'll be showing you one of those sets later. But as for its stats, it has some pretty, unfortunately, mediocre stats all the way around, though there are ways to try and maximize what it does have. Only 65 HP, 55 defense, and 75 special defense doesn't really give you many defenses to work with, but they can be passable in a way. And 75 special defense is actually pretty good. Um, as for its speed and attack, though, those actually can be useful. 85 speed isn't the worst. It's actually pretty average, so if you want to like potentially run a Choice Scarf set on Volbeat, that is actually really possible because its speed is okay. Though its special attack, which is only 47, kind of stinks because if it did have a higher special attack like Illumise does, it would be able to further abuse the Tail Glow move. But unfortunately, they decided to do this to this Pokemon for whatever reason. So you're pretty much going to you're going to have to go with physical attack if you're not going to be using a boosting set. So overall, it basically can be a speedy physical attacker, or some Pokemon that abuses the ability Prankster, which I believe that Volbeat can do very well. So with that, let's take a look at the first set, which will be using this ability. So in this first set, we're going to be giving Volbeat an Impish Nature to increase its physical defense but lower its special attack, and we're going to be making use of its Dreamworld ability Prankster. As for the EVs, we're going to be putting 248 into your HP to give you a odd HP number that will mess with the Stealth Rock damage to allow you to survive more switch-ins, 132 EVs into physical defense, and then 128 EVs into special defense to give you some nice, well-rounded defenses even with your unfortunate defensive base stats. Now an alternative to this could be putting 252 EVs into special defense just to allow it to take the special hits a lot better than mixing the defensive stats with the EVs, but that I prefer this setup just because I prefer to have the numbers more even on both of the defensive stats. And we're going to be going with leftovers as the item just to get the HP, which will work really well in combination with our first move, which is Substitute. And Substitute is excellent on this set because of the fact that with the Prankster ability, you'll be having +1 priority to your Substitute, meaning that you will always essentially be able to put up a substitute to block a move, unless it'll be Extreme Speed, which does have more than +1 priority. But that move isn't entirely that common in the NU tier, which is where I'm assuming you're going to be using the set, though this could work in any other tier. But if you do see that move coming, it'll most likely be from a Linoon. And so you won't really have to worry about that too much unless your opponent is using a Linoon. But as for the rest of the set, the first move that we're going to be making use of to deal damage is Seismic Toss, and this is excellent because with the nature not boosting our attack stat at all, or the item not boosting our attack at all, Seismic Toss is an excellent way to just do a solid 100 damage on anything except for ghost types. Um, and it's just a really good move to have on any set that's supportive because it needs to just be doing consistent damage all the time. Now you could go with Bug Bite, but that really, with its 60 base power, won't really be doing much, even though you do get stab on it. So I much rather prefer Seismic Toss for this set. And then for our next move, we're going to be using either Swagger or Confuse Ray. Volbeat does get both, so it's really a matter of whether or not you want the added damage from Swagger with the +2 boost to attack that it provides, or just to go with something a little bit more safe with Confuse Ray so that you're not boosting your opponent's stats at all. Either one works. I prefer to go with Swagger just because it's a little bit more fun to use when your opponent can hurt itself for significant damage in Confusion as opposed to just the regular damage. And then with our last move, we're going to be using Thunder Wave as a way to not only cripple Pokemon that might be faster with your +1 priority, but also to work in combination with the Confusion, so you'll get what is known as Parafusion going on, meaning that they'll have a 50% chance to attack with Confuse Ray, and also a 50% chance to attack after the Confusion with Thunder Wave. And obviously, Thunder Wave won't work on ground types or Pokemon that have an immunity to electric, but it's more or less just the combination of moves that makes this set very difficult to deal with. And overall, with the Substitute being very abusable behind Parafusion because your opponent might not attack you, you'll essentially get a free sub and thus make yourself even more difficult to handle, and thus be able to Seismic Toss safely from behind a sub and get more leftovers recovery in the process. So this is a really cool set, and one that I also like to run on Liepard, which can do the exact same thing with its Prankster ability, even though it isn't released yet. But instead of Seismic Toss, I use Foul Play. But overall, this is a really solid support set and something very difficult to deal with because of how the Parafusion works, and a really great way to abuse Prankster on Volbeat. As for this next set and the final set of this video, we're going to be giving Volbeat a more offensive role in battle. So we're giving it a Jelly Nature, sorry the birds in the background, we're giving it a Jelly Nature to increase its speed and lower its special attack. We're going to be giving it the ability Swarm to increase our bug type moves by 50% every time we're below a third of our health or less. And then for the EVs, we're going to give it 252 attack, 4 defense, and then 252 speed to give it its highest attack and highest speed possible with the Jelly Nature. As for the item, we're going to be going with Expert Belt because that is kind of the best and really only really good item to use with the set. Because we're using Substitute, we can't really use a Life Orb, even though that will provide a greater boost to all of our attacks, whether or not they're super effective. And you could also potentially run a Lumberry if you don't want to be statused, but with Substitute, you probably won't be statused as often as you might with other moves on the set, unless it's by Toxic Spikes or something. But as I said, Substitute is the first move again on this set, but unlike in the first set where we're using it to basically abuse Parafusion, Substitute has a very different role, and actually 2 different roles on this set. The first of which is to get us into Swarm range, because with the added damage from Stealth Rock and Substitute, it is very easy to get Volbeat into Swarm range to allow it to increase the power of its bug type attacking moves, which in this case is going to be Bug Bite. Kind of unfortunate that Volbeat doesn't learn X Scissor because that would be a lot better, but Bug Bite is only a 60 base power move. But with the Swarm ability and the Expert Belt, it does have potential to be doing more damage. But the other role that Substitute serves on the set is to allow us to successfully get off Focus Punches, which is just one of my favorite moves to use, and since Volbeat is able to learn it, I figured why not. It also has access to Brick Break, but it's only half the base power of Focus Punch and not nearly as fun to use. So Substitute will allow us to get up a wall behind which we can Focus Punch successfully, because if we are hit while we Focus Punch, we'll lose the focus and it won't work. As for the last move, it's pretty much just a coverage move. Thunder Punch is great because obviously Volbeat is weak to Flying type Pokemon or Flying type moves, so having Thunder Punch to hit them for super effective damage is always really good. Also, we could use Zen Headbutt because, because a lot of times the bug type, or when we want to hit something for a super effective bug type move, most grass type Pokemon in that sense are grass poison, so they'll only take neutral damage from Bug Bite, meaning that Zen Headbutt will be a better option. So that's the only other reason for that move on this set. It's good against poison types, and fighting types, and a bunch of other things. So that's pretty much just a coverage move. I think Volbeat also learns Ice Punch, so that's another option, but I prefer these two as options for the set. But that's pretty much it that I have for Volbeat today. So you got a prankster set, support set, and a physical attacking set with Volbeat, both of which are pretty cool to use and a lot of fun for me to use as well, so I hope you enjoy them just as much. But that is it for this video. So as always, take care and goodbye.